Michael! Let's go. Let's go. Beat it.
Michael, I told you not to come on until I texted you. Unbelievable. So that's who came on and ruined the interview? I specifically texted him to tell him not to do that.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live, Michael.
And we are live.
Oh, he did it. But we're also on tape. We are deep down in the bowels of Leafs music. That's Michael Potestio. That's not Chris Folds, obviously. First time. Mike, how you doing?
Pretty good, Marty. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. We got Mike Miltimore. We got Bonnie. Episode 37 of Kamloops last week. Great show today. Westyde Whundas, BC basketball champions. Tom Gaglardi, majority owner of the Kamloops Blazers, talking Memorial Cup. Interesting stuff there. So what are you talking about today?
Crisis in Ukraine. We're expecting refugees in this province, in this country, pretty soon.
Okay, cool. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. We also have Bob Dieno. Time change. Stop the time change. Mike, is your mic up? I know you might have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, you know what? I am for the time change. I like it. I get up thinking about it, and I love how our mornings are extended. And it's just, it's one of those days I look forward to twice a year.
Well, Bob Dieno does not feel the same way as you. Neither does Tara Holmes. We'll talk about how I feel a bit later on. Before we get going here, though, we've got to address the elephant in the room here. We've got the Italian flag going here. There's some acrimony right now between the two mics. I could feel it when you. Yes, there absolutely is, Mike.
You were down calling these South Shore Italians, and as a South Shore Italian, I take great offense, and I challenge you to a Italian off.
Yeah,
Miltimore, what's the genesis?
No, so this was okay, Mike. Episode 7. Episode 7. All right.
Seven,
you
right?
came on here. I asked you, and here's the direct quote. I looked at the tape last night. I want to ask you about the difference between a North Shore Italian and a South Shore Italian.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
North Shore versus South Shore Italian.
Yeah. You said, "Hi, my name is Michael Potestio." It's a weird way to start, a little arrogant. I am a North Shore Italian. This is last night I looked at the tape. You said, "We are superior to the South Shore Italians, like Mike Miltimore and his entire family of frauds."
Really hurt.
This is what you said, and one more quote here. Yes, you said, "South Shore Italians do not know how to grow tomatoes like they do in the old country, nor," and I capitalized this part because you said it to yell, "do they get necessary sunlight like we do on the North Shore. You South Shore phony paisan, you hide in the Aberdeen Hills like the cowards you are, while we farm the flatlands of Brocklehurst and produce the finest of tomatoes and olive oil." And then in brackets I put hand motions because you were losing your mind. So how do you account for these comments here?
I think it might be a paraphrase more than a direct quote.
How did you read it, Mike, when you came on?
I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah.
And there's, in this day and age, there's no need for that. Your grandparents may have felt that way. My grandparents may have felt differently, but I think we can be friends.
Absolutely, I think we can be friends.
Did your mom ever do that? Hey, you need to find a nice Italian girl.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
Then you go to a wedding and it's like, hey, we're related. It's like, ah.
Actually, how's the Tinder game going, Mike?
Tinder game. Marty, I got a beef with you. You got me on that like some 4 years ago. He said, "Mike, you got to get on it. This is the only way to do dating nowadays." And I don't know. That stinks. I think I got to try Hinge or Bumble or something. So I got to change it up.
Sounds like your profile picture might be a little bit off. Okay, let's get serious here. Mike, introduce yourself a little bit. How long at KTW for you now?
At KTW, it's been actually this month 4 years at KTW, and actually 9 with the company that owns KTW. Was at our sister paper there for 4 years, 4.5 years before coming up here.
And what do you cover for us?
A little bit of everything. Right now, I had the education beat for a little while, then changed up to kind of cops and court, and really just kind of everything in between. Sometimes whenever a story comes up, I'm right there. If there's photos that need to be taken, I can sub in on that too.
You do a great job for us. You're born and bred Kamloopsian too, right? Which high school did you go to?
Norcam.
Norcam, okay. You want to talk about Mass this morning, what it's been like in the general public with not having to wear them and people's comfort levels with them?
Yeah, it was weird. This weekend was the first, I went to the Blazer game for the first time since 2019, and it was the first time without masks. And as you know, I run a local journalism social club here in town.
Yeah.
So we...
With an iron fist.
With an iron fist, I do. That's right. Certain
people don't
former
get
radio personalities are no longer allowed.
Colton Davies.
As you know.
Yeah.
And anyway, so the group of us, we were in the lineup, and everybody around us didn't have masks on. We decided to mask up to go in. So we all walked in with our masks on. When we got to our seats, everybody else took their masks off, like restaurant style, when you get to your seat. I kept mine on, because it's a Blazer game, it's a crowded section.
Yeah.
When everyone's cheering, like, hoorah, you don't want to be, you never know who's vaccinated and who's not next to you. I kept mine on. It turned into sort of a new social faux pas because everybody looked at me like I was judging them.
I'm okay with masks. In our shop here, we have some people that are not comfortable without a mask. So when I'm around on the sales floor, we keep our masks on.
Yeah.
If customers come in, it's up to them. But I try to personally read the room and see what's going on. And I got a mask in my pocket, and if people are masked up, I respect that and don the mask.
Well, yesterday I was interviewing Curtis Atkinson at the Wolfpack press conference, and he had his mask on and asked me if it was okay if he took it off during the interview. I said, of course. So I guess people are generally pretty polite about it or considerate.
Yeah.
The one thing that I hate about masks most is it's hard to eat Big Macs. Okay.
Sure.
When you're trying to eat 2 Big Macs, it gets in the way. So if you want to eat 2 Big Macs, share this episode. Also, when I go to New Leaf Produce Market, I usually like to have about 90 berries at a time because they're so good. And that's tough to do when you're wearing a mask too. Get on down to New Leaf Produce Market right now. The frozen berries are on special. What is it that we know? There it is, another fresh stock on a Wednesday morning at New Leaf Produce Market. But what is it that we know about Christopher Foltz, Kamloops Last Week co-host? Well, we know this. Abbotsford palate, which means his idea of a big night out, well, you're going to the Highwayman or maybe down the road to Aldergrove to the Alder Inn. But what he does know and always has and always will is berries, because right there in his own backyard, it's Newfeld Farms. And Newfeld Farms is in cahoots with New Leaf Produce Market.
Help my goodness, Steve. Are these strawberries ever good?
You're quiet today, Herman. Want some corn?
Have a bite, Herm.
This month, March at New Leaf Produce Market, get those frozen berries on special. Come on down. Get them while you can, because they're going fast. Michael, I asked you to come bearing a sports memory, high school sports memory. Anything?
Well, so for high school sports, I played one season of Norcam Saints football.
That's it?
That's all we got. We didn't have a team. The high school we weren't able to put a team for years when I was in my junior years coming up. But when I was in grade 12 graduating, there was enough people together. They got the senior boys team. And I just had the time of my life, despite the fact that we were winless. Actually, that's not correct. See, we were 1-7, I think. I think Valley View forfeited their last game of the season against us because they wanted to stay fresh for the playoffs, and they didn't want to risk injury against us. So we technically won that game out of intimidation. We had lost the other 7, but regardless of not, getting to the playoffs or getting to any kind of championship, I always look back on that one year and just I absolutely loved it. And
judging by your frame here, not to be offensive, but lineman?
No, running back.
Running back, fullback.
Yeah. Fullback.
I mean, there's a lot of plunging up the middle, or any long runs or any touchdowns? Any touchdowns?
Zero touchdowns. Unfortunately, I can't be like an Al Bundy type, be like a 4 touchdowns, 1 game, high school football. Can't claim any of that fame. A couple of good long runs. There was one game we had actually against the Whundas. I think they were called the Whundas back then in Westyde, at Westyde, where I had some really good runs. I was actually the second string, and I had such a great game that the coach put me in as the starter after that.
Okay.
So that's my memory that was my highlight.
The reason I asked you to bring that story was because I was down, as I mentioned already, the coast on Saturday to watch the Westyde basketball, and it turned into one of the best events I've ever been to in my life, one of the best games, period, high school, professional, I've ever seen in my life. It was fantastic. They were the underdogs. They were the 4 seed of the tournament. The school had never won a provincial senior boys basketball championship. They made it to the final. They were playing the Lambrick Park Lions, the favored Lambrick Park Lions of Victoria. I brought my camera and caught some of the emotions that went on with that game. And you can see that in this video right here.
I just knew I had to shoot it. I had a little bit of space, and I just knew I just had to let it go.
What did it feel like when that went in?
It felt like so much weight on my shoulders, and I knew like we're almost done. Like I was just felt relieved. It felt really good.
How do you describe what the boys are feeling like now as a team?
Just so much happiness. Like we wanted this so badly. Like I've never felt like this happy before. So.
Amazing. I was really impressed with our resiliency. I thought we didn't have it after we were down 10 in the second half, and I just incredible heart, incredible grit. I'm so proud of the boys.
I've got some video of you getting emotional after the game. Why did it mean so much to you?
I don't know. I mean, my own kids on the team. I'm just so proud of the kids. But you know what? These kids believe in themselves. They put in the work. And you know what I'm most impressed with? Number 9, Colton Mikko. He's a football player. He can't hit a free throw to save his life. He put in the time at the free throw line, and it made a difference, right? And it just goes to show to anyone that when you put in the work, it really does pay off.
Coach told me that you couldn't hit a free throw all year, but you worked and worked and worked and worked. What was it like to step up and make those big ones?
It was nerve-wracking at first, but as soon as I made it, it just felt amazing. Like, it just felt so electric in the building with everyone going crazy.
What does it feel like to be in that situation? Like the provincial championship on the line and you got to make some free throws in front of a big crowd.
Oh, I was insanely nervous, but I ended up making it. That's all that matters. So.
And when Caleb's shot went in, what did you feel at that point?
Oh, you could just feel it in your heart. Like it's the first one at Westyde. It just feels amazing.
It's kind of like the dream scenario, a three-pointer to win a championship.
Yes.
I mean, does it feel surreal almost?
It does feel very surreal. I mean, I honestly though, you know what? I was just praying the whole time. It was for His glory. He's such a good God. He's such a good God.
Thank you.
Cheers. Yes, thank you.
What's going on with the no shoes?
It started at Cities, and I did it to keep the courts clean and walking on and off the court. And then after that, it just turned into superstition.
So after a while, it was kind of like you better have no shoes on.
Yeah, actually, in our semifinals game, I had them on, and the other coaches started yelling at me to take them off.
What does it feel like right now?
It's truly incredible to bring our first banner back for Westyde.
I feel amazing. I've been dreaming about this for so long. Our whole team's been dreaming for us for so long. And it's so nice to just be here with the atmosphere and all that. Yeah.
You guys were down 10 going into the fourth quarter. Did you doubt yourself?
No, I think we knew it was a process. We knew it was going to be a battle. And they were amazing. They had a great team. And we had a really good defense, and I think that's what won us the game.
I gotta say, like, just watching that video, just the emotion that everybody had, both the team, the parents, the coach there, it just really shows you why sport, especially youth sport, is so important and so special.
Yeah, I think for me it highlighted everything that we've been missing too. I mean, walking into that, I had goosebumps. I could barely hold the camera. I've got no dog in the fight. I've got no kid on the team. I don't know any player on the team. And just watching Ryan Porter and Sean Garvey get emotional like that, it definitely made me kind of realize everything I've been missing too in my job too. My whole life is based around my job, and my job was kind of taken away going into big events and being around people and covering games like that. So it was cool to see that, and cool to see them win too. First time, been around since 1973, Westyde. That's their first championship.
And in such dramatic fashion too.
Yeah.
It was like a
three-pointer
Kawhi Leonard type shot
to win the game.
there.
Yeah. Jessica Wallace, she was a star soccer player at St. Anne's Academy right here in Kamloops. Let's meet her in the Last Week Clique.
Okay, well, that was just a sample of what was played during last week's budget meeting held on MacArthur Island. The city held an in-person meeting to discuss supplemental budget items or items that they're looking to potentially add on to the budget this year. And I played that because I think this is the first budget meeting I've covered in person since the pandemic started. And the residents on Lawrence Street who wanted council and the public to know what they've been going through with that noise increasing in their backyard of late with the coal contract. They held up these phones and they interrupted the presentation in order to get their point across. And it really stressed to me not just, well, how loud the trains are and their case for wanting whistle cessation downtown, but also how effective the public budget process can be, and how great it is to see that, after the pandemic, we're separated apart. People were forced back together, and a lot of people showed up, standing room only at the budget meeting last week. Simultaneously, the TNRD is looking to improve its consultation process for its budget. It has in the past consulted with the public on services like libraries and solid waste, but it's looking to do a more holistic budget consultation process, so we'll watch for that. Also, just got back from council. It was a marathon meeting on Tuesday, and I'm expecting to be filing on a request from Kamloops RCMP for additional police officers in the coming years. They're requesting through their strategic plan, not yet approved budget-wise, but 25 officers over the next 5 years, as well as 12 municipal staff to support. So community safety, that's a big topic right now. Council approved in a vote of 8-1 that strategic plan. We'll see budget requests related to that coming in the future. And I'll be filing a lot more stories from council over the next couple days. Hey, last thing, now that Mike is the host, congrats Mike, I just wanted to say we need somebody to say back to you guys in the studio.
Michael, you saw Jessica's Last Week Clique, and she did the throwback there.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on her throwback?
I liked it. I like the double finger guns there, Jess.
What happens with
good.
your energy? Sometimes your throwbacks are powerful,
Yeah.
and then sometimes you limp into it a little bit.
Yeah, I tried to mix it up a bit, but sometimes it just doesn't.
Just an energy thing?
Yeah, it's just
Didn't
an
have
energy
enough
thing.
McDonald's coffee, maybe?
No.
Thank you. All right, Mike, let's, we got a brand new video for you that I put together here. It's high budget for your segment, which is called Behind the Mic.
Yeah, that is Pastor Father Andrzej Wazelenko from the Holy Trinity Ukrainian Church down on Tranquil and Don Street there. I reached out to him for a story talking about Ukrainian refugees that would be coming to Kamloops. He had actually told me that he had been in contact with a couple of people here in town who've been trying to get family members out. One was a harrowing story of a city man who his wife's family was trapped in one of the eastern parts of Ukraine that's currently being besieged right now by Russian forces. And he reached out to the Pastor Wazelenko here just for some advice, and he's been in contact with him. That man has since texted him that he got his wife's family out, and they're in a NATO-friendly country.
So he flew?
He went to Ukraine,
yeah,
apparently to get his wife's family out of this war zone, essentially, and they managed to get to safety now.
What about here in Kamloops? Can we expect to see some refugees here?
Yeah, so kind of on that note, after speaking with Father Wazelenko here, I also reached out to Kamloops Immigration Services, the Executive Director, France Lamontagne, over there, and just to ask her, like, what are you guys hearing? What do you expect? And she estimates that they'll probably see in the next 2 years some 15 families maybe from Ukraine, at least 2 or 3 this year, and maybe because of this new emergency travel authorization, another 3 or 4 more. So maybe as much as 7 families this year potentially is what they're estimating. And they think that we're going to see a lot just because Canada has one of the largest Ukrainian populations outside of Ukraine, if not the largest, I think, in outside of Ukraine in the world. And Kamloops itself also has a pretty large Ukrainian population. As part of the story I looked up the Canada Census for Kamloops. There's about more than 6,800 people in Kamloops who their ethnic background. They identify
6,800.
Yeah, and they identify as Ukrainian, having Ukrainian ethnicity. So there's a pretty strong community here in town. And obviously, if you're a refugee, you want to go someplace where you have potentially familial or friendly connections and church, and even just any kind of general connection itself. In fact, the Ukrainian community was so large. I had to. The Italian community was only what was it here? I think I had the numbers down. It was actually larger than the Italian community. It was Italian community is 5,550.
Are you not counting the South Shore Italians?
I think
they don't count.
I think I may have skewed the numbers when the census guy came to my house because I tried to explain North Shore, South Shore to be different categories. So I don't know, but yeah. So they expect a lot, and obviously that's going to have an impact on in town if we get a lot of refugees. Situation still yet to be seen exactly how many people come here. As much as there might be a small impact on the community from the number of refugees coming here in terms of housing and filling those needs, I think Kamloops is going to have an impact on the refugees coming here, because what we've heard from Father Wazelenko and Kamloops Immigration Services there is that people are reaching out, like daily calls almost, asking not only for advice on how they can help people get out there, but also just volunteering their time. They've been getting calls, people say, I have housing, I have a job opportunity for anybody who comes here. They've been getting calls basically saying, I can act as an interpreter. So they've been getting a lot of, there's been a lot of rumblings from the community saying that we can help out. So it sounds like the community is really going to rise to the challenge here, and Kamloops is ready and waiting for these refugees.
It just doesn't register me what it would be like to be these families, like just forced to leave your home. Like, can you get money out? How do you bring your money over here? Is that not a big deal? But just leaving your home you've been in for your entire life, and all of a sudden you have to leave, and who knows when you're coming back. Maybe you can't bring other family members with you. You have elderly family members who can't travel. It's hard to even can't put myself in these people's shoes.
I don't know. It's really. I feel for them, and I'm glad to hear that the community of Kamloops is ready and willing to help out. I think that's great, and these people are going to need all the help they can get, and we need to be there for them.
All right, Michael. Surprisingly great job on your first ever Behind the Mic segment.
Thanks.
Let's flip now to this week. All right, Bob Dieno. Do you know Bob Dieno?
Oh.
Don't know Bob Dieno. Okay, well, he's a time change critic. Him and Tara Holmes are in the same boat with that. They're thick as thieves on the matter. Bob, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
Not too bad. First of all, how do you keep sane working with Tara Holmes?
Well, you hardly get a word in is the problem. So, she starts laughing, and then we're all in trouble. So,
You both have been busy this week. The time change obviously spurs that. So just give us some background. What is Stop the Time Change, and how are you involved?
Okay, so Tara and I started this about 6 years ago. It's really just about stopping the time change in BC. We realized a lot of people don't like it for the most part, but really for us to go to the government and say, hey, we need to stop doing this. We had to do our research to find the real reasons why, other than, Bob doesn't like it or Mike doesn't like it. So we went and did the background research. There's been a lot of research done on it, saying that, there's health effects, there's more car accidents, there's workplace effects, there's all these different effects on people that you don't realize happens for 1 hour. It's amazing, 1 hour of sleep. Lots of comments, lots of discussion, but nothing has happened until we got some really good news yesterday, which should help push this forward.
Yeah, what's that good news for you?
The good news is the U.S. Congress, I guess, passed a unanimous bill for the entire U.S. to remain on daylight saving time going forward, starting in the spring of 2023. Once the U.S. does something, obviously Canada normally follows. So I would be very surprised if all the U.S. changed to daylight saving times if all of Canada does not immediately do that as well. So,
what about, is there any safety issues in the morning, like kids walking to school in the dark or anything like that?
Yeah, that's definitely the other side of the concern. That was the concern for the standard time with kids going to school in the dark. And then a lot of the proponents say, well, there's so many kids that often have sports after school and in the evenings are walking home in the dark as well. But absolutely that is one of the concerns. Although people north of us, certainly in Prince George and some of those areas, they do it all the time anyways because it's still dark when they go to school, even staying on standard time. So,
Mike, you're an anti-time change guy, I think.
Bob, don't hate me. I enjoy the time change. I really look forward to it twice a year. It affects my business, in the fall when it gets dark sooner or earlier, depending on which way you go. Music in the park could be impacted by it being dark earlier. But I do like it. I like the change, but I can understand if somebody's working really early morning shifts, that kind of thing, how that could be a problem.
One of the big things, Mike, had nothing to do with working people and stuff. One of the very interesting things we found was we talked with a lot of healthcare people, especially long-term care people, and a lot of
John Horgan?
Sorry, I didn't put my phone on DND. Sorry about that. A lot of people are on fixed medication schedules. And what they found was that 1 hour changing twice, it could take them 2 to 3 weeks to have to change them over for 1 hour. And it was having sometimes serious effects on people, just changing 5 minutes a day.
For parents, it can be a nightmare, right? I mean, that's generally a thing.
Not so much younger, really, really young kids, but certainly as they hit 3, 4, 5, 6, it can be a lot more difficult because they don't really understand. Once they get a little older, they adjust as well.
Okay, thanks, Bob. It's 9:35. I think you got a jet, so thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate it. Thanks, and hi, Mike. It's been a while. So.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Michael Potestio, your thoughts on that?
I'm unlike my paisano, Mr. Miltimore over there. Yeah. I'm actually excited about staying on daylight time. I like the spring ahead. I like the later afternoons. I really am looking forward to not having to try and figure out how to change my car clock anymore. It's currently an hour behind. I thought it was early this morning.
Yeah, you're almost late. First day on the job, he shows up 2 minutes before the show. Unbelievable. I just don't care. And my big worry is we're going to have a Start the Time Change group popping up here, and we're going to have to hear about that. It's gonna. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I'm starting it.
Oh my goodness. You'll be on the screen here next week talking about Start the Time Change. It's just never going to end. The amount of time that Tara and Bob have spent on this, it's insane. Like I work with Tara, she's always going on about this. Oh, the time changing. Does it really affect us that much? Like if there's another side that's going to be like, we want the time change, and then we're changing back in 5 years, it's a big waste of time. I think we just wasted everybody's time here. Honestly.
It's all time.
Sorry, Bob. The Kelowna Rockets have not yet made it clear if they're going to bid on the Memorial Cup, so time's ticking on them. Tom Gaglardi will discuss that right now with us in the Tattle of Hastings. Okay, Michael, I think you told me you have a barn burner of a story here.
You are way overselling it. Doomed to fail now.
You did on the phone last night. I questioned the story, so this is an important moment.
Right, the Memorial Cup, the bid for 2023. I say I've been waiting for this for what was the last time? 95, right? I've been waiting for it for 27 years because my father, a former Blazers season ticket holder at the time, this is the Tucker Ginla era, he had season tickets and he was at the Memorial Cup winning game here in Kamloops in 95. He took my older brother, who was, he could appreciate it more. He's like 8 at the time. I'm only 5. But he promised me that when they host again, I'm up.
Okay, so you've been waiting for a long time then. Basically, your dad has been kind of dangling this carrot that has gone on for how many years now, since 1995?
I'm pretty much the age that he was when when I was promised this game.
Do you hold that against your dad like it's a serious
No, absolutely
issue?
not. I hold it against the powers that be that will just not allow the tournament capital to be the tournament capital.
Is your whole family going to watch this right now? Are they sitting around like peeling sausages? And
what's going to happen is that I'm going to get back. I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish my shift. Once they're done peeling the sausages,
is that
they
all get in trouble for that? Probably.
Probably, yeah. They'll watch. They'll watch for sure.
I don't mean. I'm just joking around, okay?
I think we need to bring you over to actually make some sausages so you can understand what goes on.
Yeah, there's very little peeling. In fact, there's a lot more stuffing than peeling.
I think your family hates me. Okay, continue.
No, that was the story.
Well, maybe this is the year. 2023 will be the year, perhaps. That's Tom Gaglardi, the majority owner of the Kamloops Blazers. I talked to him last week, and it's no secret the Blazers are going to bid on the 2023 Memorial Cup. They lost out to the Kelowna Rockets in 2020. The Rockets party ruined by the pandemic. Bruce Hamilton, owner of the Rockets, he's also the chairman of the WHL Board of Governors, has not said on the record that Kelowna is going to bid. I texted him. He sent me kind of a non-answer answer saying, thanks for your interest. The CHL makes those announcements now. Bottom line, they're going to bid. I think they're going to bid. Okay, I've heard from multiple sources they're going to bid. When they do, are they drawing dead? What do you think? Are they drawing dead when they bid again? Any thoughts on that?
I think it's a foregone conclusion that.
I mean, are the Blazers drawing dead?
Oh, are the Blazers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are. I think it's Kelowna's. Memorial Cup. They won it in 2020, and they, lost it due to the pandemic. So if they put their name forward, it's automatic. And I don't think Kamloops really has a shot if that happens. If Kelowna's in the mix.
Very negative. It's a negative anti-Kamloops view from Michael here. Mike, can you stop hammering your mic too? Like, you show up late and you start messing with the equipment.
Whoops. Sorry. Italians hand talking. Mike knows what I'm talking about. I want him to get it, but if Kelowna puts their name forward, it's automatic. Going to Kelowna.
What could happen here, though? It's changed. The process has changed. It's no longer a decision made at the WHL level. It's made at the CHL level. Tom Gaglardi can't talk a whole lot about it, even though he kind of did show his hand a little bit more than he wanted to, and you can check that out right now in this interview.
As I understand, it's not voted on by the members of the Western Hockey League Board of Governors, which has never been the case.
How do you feel about that?
it's better. I think that it should be decided by people who are, I just think takes biases out, and I think that the real reasons that a winning team should host are I got a better chance of prevailing. So I'm hopeful this is a good system and a better system, but I guess that remains to be seen.
The last time we spoke, I asked you a similar question just about, are you concerned that because Kelowna, let's just hypothetically say that Kelowna bids, and it hasn't been confirmed yet, but hypothetically, if they do bid, are you concerned that because they were supposed to host in 2020, that they will kind of be handed it in 2023? How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think anything's going to be handed. I think that they, if indeed it comes down and they're in the mix, I think the fact that they were hosting it is probably an issue. It's probably something that might be thought about, or it might not be thought about. I don't know. Obviously, in Kelowna's defense, they prepared to host a Memorial Cup and got it taken away from them, and I think that cost them in terms of their hockey program. It cost them in terms of, I'm sure, financially, and so that you do have to have sympathy for that. So to the extent that that's a key determining factor for the running for 22-23, I just don't know. But I just don't know. I think that I really believe that the best bid, the best situation, with the community, the facility, the theme, the people driving it, the quality of the hockey team, quality of the hockey program. I think those are the key points, and the best team and best city should win.
To me, the most notable part of that interview is when he talks about the biases. He talks about, I think there should be no biases involved, and he's happy it's gone to the CHL level. You can read between the lines there. It's pretty obvious he's talking about Bruce Hamilton. Bruce Hamilton's the owner of the Rockets. He's also the longest-serving chairman of the board. And I'm not saying that Tom is thinking there's any kind of nefarious secret handshake deals, like you better vote for us. It's just simply a matter of the respect that Bruce Hamilton has in the WHL among the governors. The allegiance, he's put so much time into the league, the owners respect him, and if that vote went back to the WHL again, who already voted for the Rockets, and they know the Rockets got robbed, they're drawing dead if that was going to happen. But because it's gone to the CHL level, maybe there is a chance for the Blazers, and I'm not saying that Kelowna or Kamloops has a better bid than the other. Maybe Kelowna does have a better bid and they deserve to go. But I do think because it's going to the CHL level, maybe gives Kamloops a bit of a better chance.
Yeah, and I still think that if it's up to Kelowna, that CHL or Dub, they'll probably recognize that whole pandemic factor and give it to them. I don't know. I'm just used to Kamloops, I guess, being kind of looked over. Like they might not recognize the validity of having.
You've got like a Kamloops syndrome. Like you just think that everything's going to be bad and we're never going to win anything.
No, we win plenty. The Whundas, it was just won that provincial championship. I just think that the powers that be won't let us have it.
Okay. One more thing on the Rockets with Bruce Hamilton. This might be the last time the Rockets have a chance to bid with him as owner and him as the chairman. So you could see a situation, if it came back to the Board of Governors, that it's almost like a parting gift to him. Do you think there's any chance that the governors, with Bruce's last chance after all this work he's put in for 20 years, are going to vote against him and give it to Tom Gaglardi? I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Regardless, if the Blazers do lose this, we can expect some fireworks from Tom Gaglardi. He doesn't hold back in talking to the media. When they lost in 2020, he said they did the wrong thing, the league, and I'm sure, again, if it's funny, he talks about, I think this new process is good and we'll find out if it's good. Well, the only way he's going to think it's good is if the Blazers win. So I don't think, if they lose, he's gonna have some interesting things to say, and we'll have him back on the show. Okay, Mike, we've kind of reached the finish line here. Any thoughts on your debut here on Kamloops last week?
I think it went fairly decently. We'll see what kind of edit I get.
A lot of editing.
It's a lot of editing required on this one.
Yeah. No, Mike, any thoughts on Michael's debut?
I've come to learn that we are one, and the north and south are now united, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thanks, Mike.
Wow, buried the hatchet. I do actually have my first ever apology to make. I made an editing gaffe last week on this show. We were talking about Reed Hamer-Jackson very quickly, or Chris Foulds was. He was saying that he's going to enter the mayoral race, and he was right. And I just cut off about 5 seconds of video that made it confusing, and maybe it made it look like, I don't really think it did, but maybe it made it look like Reed Hamer-Jackson was part of the Action 22 slate. He's not. He's running for mayor on his own. He's not part of this slate. That's my fault. I screwed up, okay? I admit it.
It takes a big man to do that.
Absolutely. So sorry, Reed Hamer-Jackson. Thanks to McDonald's. Thanks to New Leaf Produce Market. Mike, any thoughts? You probably actually don't think this produce is very good because it's not grown in your back special garden on the North Shore.
It's true. It's true. But it is grown locally, so it's the next best thing.
It is grown locally. These businesses are paying some high prices for their food right now, too. Right now, the gas, that's something we didn't talk about today. Gas prices and at the pump right now, it's affecting everybody. So go help them out if you can, and share this video for a chance to win 2 Big Macs. For Bonnie, for Magic Mike, for Mike Potestio, I'm Marty Hastings. This has been Kamloops Last Week for Herman Hothi, and we'll see you last week.
Yay! Oh. Last week.
You okay?
Yeah, I was going to say I like the eggplant.
Once again, in a weird position there. Yeah. Phallic.